Que arranca, güey, que arranca. Esto siempre arranca. What's up, man?
Co-founder of the Media Indie Exchange, The Mix,
Ahí está.
and one of the producers behind the Guerrilla Collective, helping to organize the show alongside our developer, publishing colleagues, and our great friends at Kind of Funny. We appreciate everyone's support for the show and tuning in. It is going to be an amazing experience. But we also wanted to put a positive message out into the world during these uncertain times. We are all proud of what we've accomplished thus far with the Guerrilla Collective, as well as the message of being stronger united. But we cannot ignore the tragedies of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and the other Black victims of police brutality and racially motivated violence. Last weekend, we put together the Black Voices in Gaming stream with the support of our partners to share a positive message, as well as aid for those affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, through the addition of a charity supported by Tiltify, where you can donate to the streams. During the show, we will remind everyone ways that they can donate through the links below. Thanks for listening, supporting these movements, stay safe, and enjoy the Guerrilla Collective.
Gracias a ti, ciudadano promedio. ¿Se viene? Se viene. ¿Qué se viene?
Welcome to the Guerrilla Collective.
No sabré decirte.
3-day digital festival of game announcements, trailers, and demos streamed
Debo
straight
tener en IRR.
Please welcome your host, Game Awards trending gamer, Greg Miller.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Guerrilla Collective live from our sanitized and empty studio. With E3 on the ropes this year, the Media Indie Exchange, the Mix for short, and the Kind of Funny Games Showcase saw an opportunity to team up with amazing developers, publishers, and studios to help shine a spotlight on some of the coolest games around. And that's just what we're going to do here with the Guerrilla Collective. Almost 80 teams have come together to bring you nearly 90 games spread out across 3 days right here on the screen of your choice. Right now, it's day one, and we could not think of a better way to welcome you to the collective than to bombard you with trailers, reveals, and titles you can play as soon as the show is over. But let's not waste any more time on little old me. Instead, let's start with a world premiere trailer no one's ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is System Shock.
World premiere.
Ahora veo de poner acá. Estoy almorzando, digamos, como la una. Ok. ¿Listo? Perfecto. Bajar un poco con la música. Ahí está. No salta copia. No me pasó con el video de Sony. ¿Y esto? Qué flashera, Es un juego indie. Están buenos, pero... ¿Qué son bufos de abajo? Bufos y granadas. What the fuck? Ok. Un juego de por turnos. Ah, pero por turnos con cartas. Sí. No me llaman. Ya. Bien, ahora ya comidito. Puedo tocar acá. Y todo despeinado, no me dio tiempo ni a bañarme. Levanté hace 5 minutos. Sé que es un ratazo, pero... Bueno, no pude ni peinar, no pude ni acomodar acá, no me dio tiempo. Qué sé yo. No te digo. Pero bueno, no se quiere peinar, no lo peino. En... Ahora este juego está muy bajo. Ahí. Bisbee. Mm. ¿Qué me querés mostrar, no? Parece disco que danza clearing, ¿cómo se llama ese ataque? Disco mortal, una cosa así. Sí. No manches, Frida.
World premiere.
World Premiere.
We started the Kind of Funny Game Showcase in 2018 as a way to use our platform to make sure
Okay.
indie games weren't lost in the wake of big budget titles. That's why teaming up with the Mix for the Guerrilla Collective made so much sense. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the Mix, Justin Woodward.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. We started the Mix in 2012 with the goal of helping to create new ways for developers to get visibility for their games. The Guerrilla Collective is really an evolution of that concept, where developers large and small showcase their games.
Justin, you're a developer yourself. Why are indie games so important?
Well, Greg, indie games are super important because the experiences that independent game developers invest their blood,
Van a ser puros indies acá.
help to push
Espero que no.
gaming entertainment in the form of narrative, art, tech,
Quiero ver si
and
muestran
game
Value
design
Gate o
to
cosas
new
así.
heights.
Exactly. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you gotta support your indie devs. Indie devs with hot new titles just like these.
Polygon Treehouse.
Rocky is a modern-day tale of courage and adventure. A game about monsters that shouldn't exist.
Go
Join
eat.
Tuve, a young girl
Worsty.
touched by magic. Explore an uncharted world of hidden legends. Discover
Voy a hacer una cosa.
mysterious items and meet long-forgotten monsters. Solve ancient puzzles to unlock paths deeper into the forest.
¿Listo? ¿Saliste?
Draw maps, collect curiosities, and chart your adventure. Unveil the story of tragic loss and the path to redemption.
Listo.
Confront Tuve's past. Explore her memories and learn the truth. Rocky, a game about monsters that
Bien.
shouldn't exist, but do.
Me descuidé 2 segundos y ya quemó la casa. ¿Qué carajos?
Genesis Noir is kind of a combination of a creation myth and a film noir thriller. Hi, we're Feral Cat Den, a little design studio composed of
una
myself,
cosa.
creative lead, Jeremy, technical lead.
Hi,
Acá.
I'm Jeremy, the technical lead. So in some ways,
Yo, una cosa.
it's a traditional point and click, in that you have the normal click to move your character kind of thing. But in a lot of ways, it's not. In that we don't really have tricky inventory puzzles where you have to like combine stuff together.
Bueno,
It's a lot
no hay
more
mucho que ver ahí.
just kind of playing in space, and the puzzles are meant to kind of evoke a vibe and a feeling.
Our emphasis is more on tactile, kind of exploratory interactions. So you might manipulate a planet's orbit or change the age of a sun.
Son unos indie bastante bizarros. No voy a mentir.
My skill set is definitely more 2D animation,
Son muy bizarros.
and graphic design. Jeremy is
Se fuman algo, ¿qué? Pero
into, like, VJing,
alguna tiene que ser.
generative art. Not only does a very black and white kind of simplified visual representation enable us to kind of explore concepts of on the cosmic scale and in the noir kind of territory, it's also stuff that we like making, and it was a very natural fit.
So of course we're inspired by the classic noir films, which usually have a pretty jazzy soundtrack, and we kind of tried to bring a more cosmic style to that, and inspired by stuff by Sun Ra and similar artists. So we partnered with these great musicians and sound designers in London called Skillbard, and they've really created this great dynamic soundtrack. And there's a
Hasta
lot
ahora
of
no veo nada interesante. Veo un juego
in the audio that,
que ni me llama.
is really great.
No voy a mentir.
This is our first game. that
Ojo,
we
digo
are
eso ahora,
just
pero por ahí lo juego.
dabbling into Unreal.
Siempre pasa lo mismo.
Jeremy and I had wanted to make a project together for quite some time. I brought this idea to him, and it was kind of the perfect
Ah,
meeting point of all our different
la hacía caer
interests.
recién levantado ese
Then
chico.
we made a little 2-week demo, and we sent that around to a few friends, and they were really
Esa
encouraged.
peluca que tenés en la cabeza,
We'd go to
más peor que yo.
DC and try to meet with some publishers, and so that went really well. So it was just really encouraging all around.
Genesis Noir is inspired by
¿Calendario
primarily
está en una
plasma
mano?
comics, but so many other things, from classic film noir like The Third Man is a personal favorite. We're super inspired also by the world of jazz, guys like Sun Ra, Miles Davis, the kind of spacier territory that jazz
O sea que
explores.
saca
Thanks for checking out Genesis Noir.
tu
We're
juego
really
de
excited for you to
libros.
play it.
Y no sé si lo tercero fue
We look
una
forward
canción,
to destroying the Big Bang.
un disco,
Thanks for
un
checking out our
vinil.
game, and we hope you enjoy it. Bye.
Pero parece curioso. No os voy a mentir.
World premiere.
World Premiere.
Product not yet rated.
Welcome to Purgatory, the land of lost souls, the realms of madness. Does anyone have what it takes to survive the nightmares of this realm and open the doors of insanity? Join our hero riding his
You are a hero.
on a quest of redemption.
Okay.
Monstrosities and damnation stand in their way, armed with sword, shield, and mystical cards. No defense, just attack. They will carve a path of merciless terror through their enemy. Whoa. I mean, we just started.
Está en silencio.
Witness a world where chilling on a boat on the river Styx makes you look like a total badass.
Toda la alarma, porque si no, que suene. No suena un pingo. Que...
Because you are really, really awesome. Limbo cannot hold you.
Ready.
You deserve paradise. Use your sexy charms. Befriend a scary witch.
¿Y esto?
Master spells with your
Otro juego de cartas.
mind. Summon awesome allies for your enchanted entourage. And give respect to beings of infinite powers. Hey, what a cool story. Using a new powerful deck of defense cards, you will block, parry, and riposte your way to victory. Oh, not again. Were heroes always this fragile? Strap yourself in. Again? Summon a 1940s boy. No!
O sea que cada vez que te morís tenés una cinemática distinta.
It's not going the way we wanted it to. Okay, come on. All right. Next hero. More meat for the grind. In a world where everyone dies and hope is futile. Yes! All right. Good card choices. Excellent equipment. Okay, solid tactics. We got this.
Es un juego de cartas bastante bizarro. Bueno, de cartas fortuna.
We have our hero. Now, let's swing open the doors of insanity. Where no sword is too big, armor too thick, ally too obnoxious. In this totally awesome game.
Nintendo Switch, PC.
This is the story of a little juggler's girl. Trapped in her life, she wanted to see the world. Alone. And, oops, not quite alone. Careful, Abby. Careful where you flee. The world has worse on offer than the skin of your knee. As much as I wish that it weren't so, the way things are the way things go. I'm all you've got in this forsaken land, so hold back and trust in your narrator's hand.
De estas formas. No hay mucho que decir, no. El juego se veía tan lindo. Bueno. Alaska, Oregon. Repartidor Simulator. Jodeme. Repartidor Simulator. Y voy a bajar un poco que me va a saltar copy más rendidas. Listo. ¿Qué es un simulador? Moderator de mensajería. Hostia. Y lo mejor es que no va a tener esto ahí. Estoy seguro. Esto está muy bizarro, what the fuck. ¿Cómo se llama este juego de motos de consola? Que es parecido. La diferencia es que no me acuerdo si podías hacer esto, estas piruetas y esas cosas. Creo que no. Ah, Clear Race, una cosa era. Una cosa así era. Ah, exclusivo de Nintendo. Exclusives.
In Boyfriend Dungeon, you spend a summer in Verona Beach, California, fighting monsters for money. Except the swords you find in the dungeon can also transform into beautiful men, women, and non-binary people you can befriend or date.
What? Me gustan los dibujos.
You try to get as far as you can in the dungeon each time, but dying's okay, because you can level up too.
Me gustaban los dibujos hasta que vi que un cassette. Sí, un fucking cassette está flotando.
You need to get stronger to go further. To do that, you'll need a closer relationship with your weapon. You spend the game alternating between fighting in the dungeon and hanging out with your weapons around town. I personally get bored if there's only fighting, but also I get restless if there's too much reading, so we wanted to make a mix of the two.
No, ya está, ya. No me gusta un ping. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué me está mostrando? Juego de chamullo, ¿qué? What the
Here, I'm
fuck?
dating Sunder the Talwar,
No,
and when
no.
we spend enough time
No,
together,
no me está gustando.
we'll discover
No,
new
no.
abilities we can use in combat. Each weapon has a different set of upgrades to find, with choices to make along the way.
Puro, yo me veo combate o algo porque esto se va a hacer RPC. Si cambian el juego
Different
fantástico.
weapons have different preferences for where they want to go on dates, how they want to flirt, and what kinds of gifts they want to receive. They might give you a gift too. There's a variety of different kinds of people/weapons to date in Boyfriend Dungeon, so it's up to you who you want to wield and level up your love. But watch out, there's someone out there kidnapping weapons. We're getting closer to finishing Boyfriend Dungeon now, and we hope people will love it as much as we do. If that sounds like your kind of game, wishlist Boyfriend Dungeon on Steam now.
Al fin terminé el juego de porquería. No, voy a frenar algo, lo estaba viendo de la cocina. Ah, no, otro juego más de ese. No, tantísimo. ¿Qué te pasó? Antes eras chévere, güey. Cada juego que... ¿Todo bien, hermanos? ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué juego me estás mostrando? Y hasta ahora son todos juegos indie, no hay nada que llame atención. Ahí está. Costó, costó. Ah, no, bueno, listo. Otro simulador más. No, el simulador no, otro indio.
All that looked awesome, but it highlights my #1 problem with showcases like ours, Justin. We show you all this cool stuff, and then you have to wait months to play it.
Yo, I feel you, Greg. That's why we at the Guerrilla Collective are putting an end to that right now. This next round of games share one amazing concept. They are all...
¿Qué oso? ¿Me fío a mí? No, me fío.
being
Ahí está. No, cayó. F. Let's fucking go. Qué buen evento. Ahí viene, ahí viene. F5. Ahí está, volvió. Ahí se está viendo. Creo yo, ¿no? Espero que se esté viendo. Esto... Bien. Esto es un juego de naves. They hit the force. Muchos juegos de 8 bits estoy viendo. Pero muchos juegos de 8 bits. No, tremendo bigot. Llevo 30 minutos mirando esto, yo no te puedo creer. Ah. Otra vez se cayó. F no, sí. F again. F de no.
To teasing you, and let's
Ahí.
start in a big way. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a brand new announcement trailer from Baldur's Gate 3.
Hasta ahora es el peor evento. De los... ¿Dos eran? Sí, dos que vi, este fue el peor. Oh, Giant Studios. Suena. R suena. Una pre-alfa. Luego en el Discord. ¿Será un MMORPG con historia? Puede ser, ojo. Ah, ahí vengo. Yo no puedo creer, fío de nuevo. ¿Cómo me ocultás con este juegazo? Yo en 5 vengo, gente. Ahí va. Ven. A su fucking madre, güey. Ah, yo no te lo puedo creer. Esto. De un juego de vaquero estuve viendo un juego de la cocina mientras hacía mi madre. Yo habría mejores juegos.
Food,
Está todo mucho.
alcohol, very important. General idea is that you'd want to just kind of lay out your things and dig into the mountain, make some bedrooms, make some workshops, allow people to start getting on with their lives here. So the big thing you might notice about this area at first is that it has some three-dimensionality to it, in the sense that there's a hill and lower levels and that you can see going up and down. That was the big first project for the artists and I to kind of work out how we're going to display this in text. You could just show some upward triangles. There's a ramp, go uphill, and you know, that worked for a few people. But
muy bueno,
to
pero
try and generalize that, we
te voy a
had to
mentir,
draw
no es algo que me esté llamando la atención,
many
sinceramente.
cases of ramps
Te doy
and
una
people
cosa.
displayed. And you know, but it looks cool now. Here they are. We have all sorts of ramps and things, and then there's lots of workshop pictures to do, lots of item pictures to do. Our dwarves are all just sort of this one placeholder dwarf right now, but we'll have different faces and clothing and things for the different appearances of the dwarves. All the dwarves have a...
Son muy pesaditos, no pensé que tenía tantos juegos indie esta empresa.
giant text paragraph describing
bueno,
what the dwarf looks like, but now you'll be able to see
experiencia,
some
¿no?
of that. So yeah, no, it's pretty exciting.
Pero no me acuerdo que anteriores E3 haya hecho tantos juegos
still
indie.
at the early stages, you can see with the
Parece que este año se tiran a full con los juegos indie.
that are still around the edges and so forth.
Muchos, Sony también.
We're going to update. This is all very kind of preliminary as we're working through it, but it should be pretty cool by the time we're done. And we have you know, a lot more to work on, and then that means a lot more kind of news to share as we go, as we update the pictures and also the usability of the game, so that it'll be easier to get into. Yeah, so thanks for watching.
This war is ours. ¿Qué lo tenés picando? Qué tremendo pajín. Valheim, un juego totalmente vikingo, preciso. No sé qué me lo dice, pero es un juego totalmente vikingo. No, joder. Esto se ve interesante, esto sí me parece entretenido. Hicieron un fucking Doom, pero con los gráficos de viejo Doom y los movimientos de nuevo Doom. Me parece bueno, no digo que es feo, pero está bueno, está bueno. Un jefe, bien. Vale, pues, o sea. Pero no se acuerda de Quake. Voy a mentir, a Quake también. Headshot. Ultra Kill. Puedo explorar la demo ahora.
Kill the intruder.
Sí, rite mucho, pero no tengo.
Are you ready to find the next game
Yo le guacho con motosierra queriendo matar un pueblo flaco.
Check out these gameplay updates from some of our closest friends.
Exclusive.
Exclusivo. Bien, esto es otro juego más de...
Hi everyone and welcome to 11-Bit Studio Show in the Guerrilla Collective. You know us from the titles like Frostpunk, This War of Mine, Moonlighter, Children of Morta, and more. First up, let's visit the home of the Bergson family. The protagonist of Children of Morta, a story-driven roguelike action RPG set in a mesmerizing fantasy world. It's just got a new Game Plus free update. There's more content coming. Here are a few words from Marek Ziemak, executive producer at 11-Bit Studios.
Hey guys, we hope you're doing okay. Luckily we're fine and we're working harder than ever. Children of Morta has a very special place in our hearts. And we also know that many of you out there really enjoyed that game. Our previous free DLC has added new Game Plus mode to the game. But this is not the end of the story of Children of Morta. Obviously there's more content coming. We know that when it comes to RPG games, new characters are in high demand. This is exactly what we will focus on in our next free update called Bergson's Home. We will be bringing you a brand new playable character to enjoy.
Our brave hero merchant Will from Moonlighter is never tired of adventures. Between Dimensions DLC has just released on consoles. And now Will is packing his backpack to discover the lands of mobile gaming. Here's Javier Jimenez, Digital Sun CEO.
Hi there folks, this is Javi from Digital Sun. It has already been 2 years since we released Moonlighter. It's been quite a ride for us and we want to thank you all. We are celebrating this anniversary by releasing the Moonlighter DLC Between Dimensions on all consoles. We know some of you have been waiting for that for quite a while, so we hope it's worth that time. And we are also announcing that we are releasing Moonlighter Mobile later this year. The mobile version of Moonlighter is going to be something quite fresh and quite new because we try to rebuild it so it feels like a native mobile experience. It has new controls, it has a new graphic user interface, it has new approach to combat. So we think it's going to feel like a simple port, but something that it's actually working as a native game. We want to share with you some bits of videos we have of the current gameplay so you can take a glimpse into what's coming. And that's everything I wanted to share with you. Thank you so much and see you soon.
The Scouts have brought news from the farthest, coldest corners of Frostland. The population of New London, humanity's hope, has survived.
Well, that's a fucking Frostpunk.
Worth it? Here's a special reveal from Frostpunk's lead designer, Kuba Stokowski.
Hello everyone. Frostpunk is a grim society survival city building game. In January, it got a prequel expansion called The Lost Autumn, which enables you to see what happens just before the icy apocalypse. This new expansion tells a story of citizens of New London on a special assignment after the Great Storm. It opens not only a brand new chapter in the Frostpunk universe, but pits you against new challenges and new gameplay mechanics, both in the city and on the Frostland map, enriching the experience. A brand new frozen board is set, and the pieces are moving. What does it mean for you as the leader, and what fate awaits your society? Well, for now, I'm not going to spoil anything else. Let's just take a look at this short teaser we've prepared.
They say that the snow is dead.
Ojo, ¿qué es esto?
but we've learned to the contrary.
Canción de Frostpunk. ¿Será eso?
The universe of Frostpunk holds even more fascinating secrets. The next one should be really exciting, especially for fans of board games. Frostpunk is going
Lo que vine al Baldur's Gate, loco.
Here's Jacob Wisniewski from Glass Cannon Games
Ah, no,
to unveil this mystery.
Hi there, I'm Kuba Wisniewski from Glass Cannon. Some of you might remember me as the co-author of the highly acclaimed This War of Mine the board game. Now together with Adam Kwapinski, author of the best-selling Nemesis the board game, and my team, I'm super hyped to bring you an ice-cold tabletop experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Frostpunk is officially going unplugged. The core gameplay will be, as you could imagine, morally complex and highly challenging. We're working very hard to bring the emotions from the video game to your tables. Frostpunk the board game is going to be a deeply strategic, yet easy to learn, co-op experience full of tough choices, narrative depth, immersive gameplay, snow and despair.
As you can see, there's some exciting adventures ahead of us. That's not all, though. We're also working on some exciting in-house projects, as well as collaborating with other studios like Fool's Theory. A new game from Digital Sun Games is coming as well. And trust us when we say, there's more where that came from. That concludes the news from 11-Bit Studios. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to the newsletter to always be up to date with the latest news. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.
Otro juego más de cartas. Completos. Hasta el cocinero te quiere cagar a piña. Que sí. Pelea en espacios, qué buen nombre. Oh, me gustó. Este sí me gustó. El único. Julio 20. Sale dentro de poco. Bien. Estoy agonizando con esta conferencia. Se tomó una birra. No, lo compro ya. Dame 5 de eso. Bueno, uno cooperativo, este me interesa. Ah, tiene PvP. Tienen un Megazord, joder. Flashé. Vi esas 4 posiciones y dije, estos son los Power Rangers.
World premiere.
¿Qué es esto? Bajo un poco la música por el tema copy. No salte. Ah, que tuve. Creí que era un clan de 8 bits. Opa, pedí 18. Esta escena es de Disney, te aviso, Wally, Eva. Por favor. Ajá. A ver. Vamos a buscar algo. No sé si están en YouTube o... Pegamos. Sí. O si se muestran acá en la misma, me parece. ¿Cómo se llama esto? Haven. Otro juego más que quiere parecer a Doom o ese mismo que vimos allá. Sí, ese mismo que vimos allá. Bueno, antes de allá. IGN. Un juego que usa la música. El crítico, esas cosas, un bufo. Look. 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 Parece que va a doble tempo.
Look at the time. Can you believe that my part of day one is almost over, people? Listen, we know you got literally nowhere else to go, but we also know that if you're like us, you're antsy for more of that new hotness. So before we hand the stream off to the Paradox Insider, here are a couple.
Está Paradox Inside. Es en la misma página. Viene bien, viene bien entonces. Ahora empieza el revés. Un juego de 8 bits. Digo 8 bits, indies. Muchos juegos indies. ¿Y esto? Actualización de Fortnite. Estamos 2 días. No. Ay, se tapa. Peggy 18. Peggy 18, muchachos. Peggy 18. Peggy 18. Bajate, viejo, asqueroso, viejo. Cálmense, viejo. Cálmense, viejo. Cálmense, viejo. ¿Cuál de eso ahí, carajo? No, viejo. ¿Cuál de eso ahí? Fuck.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up my section of the Guerrilla Collective's first day, but we are far from done. Up next is the Paradox Insider, where Paradox Interactive is going to share deeper details on the latest games they've been working on. Let's
Ah,
check
because un
in
grano.
with Paula Tellin over in the Paradox studio. How's it going over there, Paula?
Hi, Greg. We're doing great.
All right.
We've been watching the show and we love it. So I'm just a little bit annoyed that we have to
Acá
stop
se viene
this
Baldur's
today,
Gate.
because that means we have to stop watching all of the cool content that you've shown so far.
I'm sure your stuff is also reasonably cool, or at least fun to watch.
Well, we're about to find out. The Paradox team
¿De quién era? Este era para la... Este era... ¿Cuál era el nombre? Acá.
Cool stuff.
Para
I'm
los...
looking forward to
Ahí.
it. So let's start the countdown and stay tuned for Paradox Insider.
Algo. Coma. Ese game. Y no tengo que ir cambiando el nombre por nombre y me rompo la cabeza. Sí, 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 sí. Este voy a sacar fotos para un compa que le gusta. Marca de jueguitos. Y si quieren entender que va a salir Baldur's Gate 3, olvidate. Pone loco. Loco como eso.
My good friend Sean, who is not a vampire, but the brand manager for World of Darkness. And I don't know about you, Sean, but I think it is wonderful to be here for our part in this grand celebration of games.
Absolutely, it's fantastic to be in a room with people again.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'd love to be in all the many, many rooms around the world that we're normally in with our players in Los Angeles, in Cologne, having the conversations that we love to have. But unfortunately, we can't, so we've got the next best thing. We're coming straight to your living room.
Yeah, and it also feels great that we're able to do something proactive about this and actually, reach the world outside, show them what we've been working on this spring and so on.
Absolutely. I mean, we've all been working from home at Paradox, but our studios haven't let that stop them. They've been working from their living rooms, from their bedrooms, from their bathrooms. It's going to be a non-stop gaming fest today. We're going to hear from the teams behind Crusader Kings 3, Empire of Sin, Prison Architect, Surviving the Aftermath,
Bien.
a special message from
Sí, Baldur's Gate, pues. Baldur's Gate, porque me comí todos los indies para llegar hasta acá.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Alright, let's not waste any more time, Paula. Why don't you kick it off with the team behind Crusader Kings 3?
Le tiraba onda desafío, ojo, ojo.
Alright, it is time to get this show started. It's time to dive into the treacherous world of Crusader Kings.
Carita tiene pibe, me parece que no durmió.
Look at live gameplay from our newest grand strategy
Sí, pero
game.
tiene un ojo más
Please
bonito que
give
el
a
otro.
warm welcome, which we'll happily accept over the internet too. Game designer Alexander Ultner and community developer Rod Del Rue.
Hi, Paula. Thanks for having us.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So you just dropped some major news for Crusader Kings. The game will be released on September 1st,
Welcome,
which is
brother.
literally around the corner, and pre-orders are live right now. Rod, how has the reception in the community been so far?
It's been so good. People are really appreciating the dev diaries that we're putting forward. We have fans that have loved seeing the new religious system that we have, and also the lifestyle system that adds, just that little extra layer of RPG. So it's been pretty good. We're super happy.
Good. And Alex, how is the mood in the dev team right now?
Oh, it's fantastic. The team has been working really, really hard. And of course, it's both frightening and exciting to get feedback from our fans like this. We love the game and we love all the feedback we're getting, and we're counting down the hours to September 1st.
Wonderful. Rod, tell us a little bit about what you have prepared for us today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to start with one of the most
Bien.
interesting starting
Creo
positions.
que 2,5 está bastante bien si lo subo.
Essentially, what we want to showcase here is the various decisions that are
Bueno,
open
toca
to you
esperar a que
even before you
vea lo
press
que
play
toca.
and start playing. It's like taking a look at the various challenges that you are facing before you start the game.
Cool. Well, let's dive in, shall we?
Sure.
All right. The year is 1066, and we are located in northern Spain. Of course, it's not Spain yet, and it won't be for another 400 years, unless we expedite the process. Northern Spain is divided into a number of Catholic kingdoms that stand against the powerful Moorish realms of the south. In northwestern Iberia, we have 3 kingdoms ruled by 3 brothers. We have Galicia, we have Castile, and us in Leon. One new feature in Crusader Kings 3 is the issues widget at the top. And if we click it, we can see that we are in line to inherit both Galicia and Castile.
And see, this is what makes this starting position super interesting. We are playing as Leon, and the only thing that is standing between us and the throne of Galicia is our Castilian brother, and we need to attack him first before rushing for Galicia.
If we look at the map, we can see that Galicia is the one that is most open to more.
No se acuerdan cuando jugaba de chico a los Age of Empires.
Southern mountains that provide
No sé por qué me vino ese recuerdo en la cabeza.
If we compare army
Es bueno
sizes, we
compartir
can
eso.
clearly see that Castile has the biggest army, while we have a middling army, and the young king of Galicia has the smallest army. None of us really have an edge over the other, but we might be able to find an ally to support us.
And in Crusader Kings, this might mean marriage, right?
Absolutely, Paula. Marriage is super key in Crusader Kings 3. If you don't have a marriage, you don't have any allies. And I think we should take a look at the various Iberian countries that we have around us, and I think an Aragon princess would do just fine.
Indeed, this Aragonese princess will get us their armies on our side. Next, let's take a look at our king. So all characters in CK3 have 5 different skills. And we can see here that King Alfonso is very good at intrigue, which means that he can plot and scheme very effectively. And if we appoint a skilled spy master to support our schemes, and we get a spouse that enhances our intrigue, we can become even better. And
bueno, me quemé a media.
We will pick a lifestyle that really accentuates this focus on scheming. We will pick the skullduggery focus.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's key here to lean into intrigue. And why is that? Because like Alex was mentioning, we have evenly matched forces against Castile. So we should really lean into that intrigue and start a murder plot to get rid of the brother.
Okay, so the plan is to kill the brother here. Alex, are we moving forward with this?
No.
Indeed. We're going to try and murder our brother. As you can see, we have a 50% chance of succeeding.
Destruye a tu propio hermano, dijo.
If we are lucky, we can even find more agents in the court of our target that might be convinced by a slight bribe.
Muy bueno, pero...
Yeah, and that's the cool thing with Crusader Kings, right? If you're trying to plot a murder against someone and you don't have enough power to succeed, you can bribe people, but you also have a special perk in the intrigue lifestyle, which essentially allows you to find secret and dirt on people in your court and then force them to join your plot.
Oh, so many different options, but unfortunately we're running out of time here. But Alex, how do you think that this story will play out?
Oh, there are so many unanswered questions. Will our plot against our Castilian brother succeed? Will we gain Galicia before Galicia manages to produce a legitimate heir? Will we be able to leverage the armies from Castile and Aragon to take over Galicia in time? Can we contain all of this familial treason before we have to fight external enemies? There are millions of ways for this to play out.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait a little bit longer, but thank you so much for taking us through a short snippet of the drama that you can expect in Crusader Kings 3. Due to be released on September 1st and available for pre-order now.
Well, betrayal, assassination, treason, kind of feels like we're having a Paradox show already.
Yeah, I agree. It went down a dark path pretty fast there.
Good.
But I guess that the next game that we have lined up is not going to disappoint us either. I mean, building a crime empire in the 1920s Chicago is not something that you're going to get away with without bribing a few cops, breaking a few alliances, maybe cutting some questionable deals on the black market. What do you think?
Underhanded tactics, politics, taking over the city, these are all things that are very close to where my heart once was.
Next up is Empire of Sin.
And joining me here in the studio from the Empire of Sin team are Ian O'Neill, lead combat designer, and Brenda Romero, game director for Empire of Sin, both from Romero Games. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys.
So, Brenda, tell me, what inspired you to make a game about 1920s gangsters?
You know, it's more like what couldn't have possibly inspired me. I mean, we've wanted to make this game for a long time. It's an incredibly rich space. It's 1920s Prohibitionary Chicago. You have a lot of larger-than-life personalities like Al Capone and Frankie Donovan and Goldie Garneau that are there at the time. And you know, what's not to love? The stories, the personalities were made for a strategy game. And as with many game designers, if you really want to play something and it's not there, then you make it.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us how all of that figures into gameplay? What do we have here?
In Empire of Sin, you can play as one of 14 different bosses. And it's a great mix of factual and fictional bosses, each with their own bonuses and special abilities. And today, we're going to play as one Mr. Dean O'Banion.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about Dean. What's his background? What kind of person is he?
Well, he grew up in Chicago, actually, in an area known as Little Hell. And in spite of that, or possibly because of it, Dean had strong ties to the church, which influenced many of the decisions he made, but clearly not all of them. Dean actually owned a flower shop, and from there, he ran his rackets.
Okay, very cool. Do all the bosses have their own missions?
Indeed they do. Dean's just about to head off to meet with Father Higgins here, which will kick off his boss mission. Now, Dean's used to walking the streets of Chicago, but we can also take a look at things from the world map to get a good idea of what's going on. Here we see Dean having a bit of a holy sit-down with the good Father Higgins. Now, Father Higgins has received word that a brothel has opened up in the neighborhood.
Y puedes decir lo que decís. Fantástico. Gusto que este tipo de juegos me encanta.
There are several things Dean could pick to say here, but he does what he needs for the good of the
que puedas ir con distintos finales dependiendo de lo que elijas, esas cosas me encanta.
You're a good
Era un toque juego.
Father Higgins offers him $500 from the coffers. Now you can choose what you want to choose, but me, I'm always going to pick the cash. And a good blessing for the soul certainly can't hurt.
Righto, but how will Dean handle this then?
Well, in Empire of Sin, diplomacy happens one of two ways. It's either going to happen by breath or by bullet. And either we're going to talk it out and things are going to come to some kind of arrangement, or they're going to go south real quick. So Dean knows just the man for the job, and his name is George Moran, and he's a regular at one of Dean's establishments. You can see him there at the bar. So George is tight with the church too, but his morals are pretty loose. And here he's telling Dean that some guy is in from New York who he thinks has a pretty serious attitude problem. And George wants Dean to keep an eye on him, but Dean already knows a bit more. Now, the story ends up taking some surprising turns and getting pretty deep, but for now, Dean just wants to get the good father's deed done.
Okay, but it doesn't really sound like a one-man job. Is he going to get any help?
Oh, that's what I'm thinking too. In Empire of Sin, there are 60 gangsters of varying skill levels that you can hire to join your crew. Me? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hire on Maria Rodriguez and Guido Cerrone. Now, I fought with these guys before, and they're fantastic. Gangsters develop loyalty to their boss the longer that they work together, and they also have an individual attribute called morale, which affects how they perform.
We know that every boss in Empire of Sin has their own combat ability. What's Dean's speciality?
Oh, yes. Dean's combat ability is a ranged attack known as blasphemy. Now, there were many accounts of Dean's brutal attacks during the Chicago newspaper wars, where O'Banion and his crew were known as sluggers, and they would beat up the competition for rival newspapers.
Empezó un tiroteo ya fue a mitad de calle.
Gunfights. This was where I drew the inspiration.
No le cabía una, el pibe.
Using this move, Dean will fire a custom shotgun slug at the target, and when the slug hits the target, it explodes. But I really wanted to add something extra, something that would give this ability a bang. That's when I decided that Dean's boss ability would be devastating to heavily armored foes. I wanted to shred their armor completely, and not just one target, but multiple targets. And as a final piece of the puzzle, the name. An awful, brutal attack delivered by a foe that saw himself as a saint. Blasphemy was a most fitting title.
Oh, man, it is a perfect title and a great move. So here we can see that Dean is done, and he did what he needed to do, but there's a whole lot of Chicago beyond this. Dean's going to settle things here with Father Higgins, but like I said, it isn't over by a long shot, and it's going to take some surprising turns. And all of these stories, they're nothing compared to the stories that the player will tell on their way to the top of Chicago. That is mission complete.
What's his mission complete?
Very cool, guys. You know, speaking of family connections, I've actually got a contingent out your way in County Galway. There's a Granny's pub not far from you guys.
Well, now that we know about it, I'd say it's not for long. Do you have any idea what their security is like? We could use another racket.
La barbaridad es una cosa, pero
give it a try and we'll see who gets who. Thanks for joining us, guys.
All right.
Tremenda barbaridad.
Folks. And Empire of Sin will come to both PC and console in autumn of this year, 2020.
So I was standing here on the side, just wishing I could play Brenda Romero in the game.
I'm absolutely certain you can. She's definitely snuck herself in there somewhere.
Yeah, hopefully. She is the coolest. But Sean, it seems like you left out an important piece of your backstory that I haven't heard before.
At least one important piece.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But your family owns a pub in Ireland.
Yeah, definitely. So my distant family does have a pub in County Galway. But you know, I mean, every family has some skeletons in the closet. I'm sure your family is no different.
Oh, well, most likely, but I don't know. There's a Tallinn bakery in Stockholm, for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, I can see some dark stories there. We've got cinnamon buns, we've got Swedes. I think we've got some bribing Swedes with cinnamon buns.
What do you think about this guy, though, who have been standing here staring us out the entire time?
You're just blinking as well.
Yeah, I know. Do you think we could bribe him with some cinnamon buns?
No, I think this guy's more into whiskey and cinnamon bun-sized holes in his enemies. And from one game about managing organized crime to another about managing criminals, it's time for Prison Architect.
The perfect island. Get away. Ay, hablando de eso, dentro de poco va a estar Escapista 2 gratis en Epic. Me parece un juegazo para jugar cooperativo.
To product manager Stacey McElwam. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
God, it's a catchy trailer you have there.
Yes, right?
Everyone in the studio were just dancing along. But you have an expansion coming up, Island Bound, that will be the first expansion in Prison Architect history that will ship simultaneously on PC and console.
It will be.
Stacey, what can you tell us about this expansion?
Yeah, so Island Bound is built from the ground up in order to expand and enhance the core gameplay of Prison Architect. This is really exciting because it means that for the first time, you can actually build a real island prison completely independent of the road. So you no longer need to use the road if you don't want to. It also means that for the first time, you can oversee the world's most iconic island prison, Alcatraz, on the new Alcatraz map. And it means that you can reimagine your transportation and deliveries completely with new features like docks, helipads, helicopters, boats, and ferries. And of course, we have a cool new elite ops and a new air fire unit that can be called in during an emergency.
A lot of
new stuff.
So let's check in with the team at Double 11. Joining us here is Gas Wright, Game Design Manager, and Natalie Wicks, Product Design Manager. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
It
generally sounds like there's a lot of things in this expansion.
Hello.
Yeah,
You're
there is.
welcome.
There is. And
You
all of the content that's coming with Island Bound will
Flawless.
integrate seamlessly with Prison Architect's existing mechanics.
Un poco la cámara.
So it adds a lot more
Está muy
variety
cerca,
and
¿no?
depth to the game. And even if you don't want to build an island prison every single time, all the new features, the docks, helipads, helicopters, boats, ferries, new emergency services, new security features, they'll all work with your existing saves as well as new prisons that you might build on the land. And also, we have a free update that's launching on the same day with Island Bound. This update is called The Rock and introduces dynamic prisoner reputations. So players will see prisoners gaining and losing reputations dynamically while spending time in their prison based on their actions, their experiences, and where they spend their time.
Cool. And always nice with free updates. Natalie, can you tell us a little bit about how the game has evolved during this past year?
Yeah, we've been very busy over the last year. So I think as of next week, we will have launched hundreds of community improvements to the game, and that's alongside the 3 expansions we've also released since then. So there was Psych Ward Warden's Edition, cleared for transfer, and now Island Bound. All of these added new mechanics to the base game as well. So, for example, Psych Ward added insane inmates, cleared for transfer added prison privileges and security transfers, and finally Island Bound will let people create the prison island of their dreams.
We're so much looking forward to it. But if we look more into the future, what is next for Prison Architect? Natalie, can you tell us anything about the future plans?
No, I can tell you that we do have a lot of plans for console and PC, but I'm afraid you will have to wait till later in the year for more information.
Right, but then there will be more.
Yes, but you'll have to keep your eyes open. But I can tell you that just like Island Bound, future expansions will be released on both PC and console.
Yes, so thank you for joining us, Stacy, Gas, Natalie, and good luck with the new expansion.
Thank you so much.
Island Bound and the free update, The Rock, will be available soon, so stay tuned.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm curious. What kind of warden would you be?
Ooh, good question. I would probably build a beautiful but highly insufficient and shitty prison, to be honest. What about you, Sean?
Well, I think what I would do is I'd look for a really big island, like a continent. And then I would put all the snakes and all the spiders on the continent and probably an opera house.
I see where this is going. Okay. From one management game where everyone wants to get out to a management game where everyone wants to get in. Here is Surviving the Aftermath.
You know. Huh?
And joining me here in the studio is
Sí,
Stefan Eld and Lasse Liljedahl, the product manager and game director for Surviving the Aftermath. Now, guys, I notice a disturbing lack of vampires and werewolves in this game, so you're going to have to explain it to somebody who hasn't yet picked it up.
Well, Surviving the Aftermath is a post-apocalyptic survival colony builder. It's quite a mouthful to say.
Short genre.
Anyway, the basic premise is that you need to build the perfect disaster-proof colony in a post-apocalyptic world. And in order to do so, you need to harvest and collect resources, you need to build your colony, you need to protect it from hostile environments or rival societies, and much, much more.
Okay, so it's a survival colony builder. I mean, that is a relatively broad genre. Lasse, could you tell me how Surviving the Aftermath stands out?
Yeah, the game is more than a colony builder. It adds strategic layers of gameplay by opening up the outside world beyond the colony. And the world map is actually one of the key features we have spent a lot of time creating. And in the world map, players can send teams of specialists to gather resources and intelligence about the world around their colony. And there they can encounter also other societies, which can be friendly or not. But they will react to players' reputation and decisions throughout the game.
So one thing that I noticed since I saw you two together last is a little change of outfit here. Everyone will remember who's been following this game how you announced it in your fantastic hazmat suits. You've updated your wardrobe, and I know you've been updating the game as well. So what's changed since we last saw you in Berlin?
So we've had 7 major content updates, and each of those updates has introduced new features, such as new trading system with other societies, vehicles that make movement in the world map much more efficient, and we also reworked the tech tree completely and expanded it quite drastically. And one of the most recent features is a combat system, which includes a colony combat where you defend your colony against raiding bandits and have other smaller encounters with wild beasts that are roaming in the nature around your colony. And maybe one more thing to mention is the criminality system, which concerns every colonist in the game.
Okay, Stefan, but what about Steam players? When will they be able to get Surviving the Aftermath?
We will be bringing Surviving the Aftermath to Steam Early Access in October. Don't forget to wishlist it.
Okay.
And ever since we released the game last year, we have been
Queremos
receiving
gameplay.
tons of good feedback from players. And we're hoping to develop the game with the feedback that we get
tenemos
from the
gameplay,
Steam
solamente
community as
vinimos
well.
a hablar un poco de juego.
And, in fact, with the feedback that
Y a
we
ver
have
si vende o
received,
no vende.
we felt that we need to add more updates to the roadmap so we can put all that content into the game that we know that the players want and that the community deserves.
So with all of these updates that have come along, obviously viewers are wondering what's next. Lastly, can you give us a sneak preview?
Of course. Update 8, called Tainted Earth, will be available on June 18th to all Surviving the Aftermath players.
What?
And in this update, we focus on pollution, which further deepens this aspect
fue Facebook, me caí
of
todo.
the game by adding different pollution strengths and an area of
Le dije que
effect
rompí.
around the pollution deposits and catastrophes that makes the pollution levels rise. And I might say that this is our biggest update yet for the game.
Fantastic. For new players like myself, where can I get started with Surviving the Aftermath?
Well, as I mentioned before, you can wishlist it on Steam now, and where it will be out in Early Access on October 22nd this year. And you can also get it on Epic Game Store and Xbox Game Preview already. And our plan is to have the game leave Early Access in early 2021.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us, Lasse. Thank you for joining us, Stefan.
Thank you.
That was Surviving the Aftermath.
So that was a very smooth Surviving the Aftermath stream. No catastrophes, nothing leaked, no radiation and so on like we're used to seeing the usual gameplay streams.
Yeah, fair call, fair call. But let's move on from one game about surviving an apocalypse to another about surviving your own immortality.
But first, we have something special for Paradox fans and strategy players everywhere. It's the 4th anniversary of Hearts of Iron 4, so we want to congratulate the team on going 4-on-4. And here's a little something from the game team and game director Don Lind.
¿Qué se viene? Y no había gameplay, ¿viste? ¿Qué pasa?
Hi, my name is Dan and I'm the game director for Hearts of Iron 4. And I'm here today because this is the 4th anniversary for the game. So I want to say thank you for all our supporters, feedback and all the great mods you guys have been doing. The community is bigger than it's ever been and it's just amazing to be part of that. And also, I want to tell you guys that it doesn't really stop here. We've got a lot more cool Hearts of Iron stuff coming up in the future, so definitely look forward to that.
In 2016, Paradox released the ultimate grand strategy war.
About to embark upon the Great Crusade. You will bring about the destruction of the German war machine.
Escucha un poquito más bajo que yo, ¿no?
We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall never surrender. The new world, with all its power and might,
Capitán América.
and the liberation of the old.
Thompson. La recanción de tipo que canta Tutu.
Let us all beseech the blessing of Almighty God upon this great and noble undertaking.
Esto no hay un gameplay. No hay gameplay. Mucho trailer, pero poco gameplay.
All right, family, we've got quite the treat for you today. We recently showed you the wholesome and rhythmic way in which Kindred celebrate the holidays on our Xbox Series X showcase, but what you saw was only most of the trailer. What we have for you today is what we're calling the Prince's Cut, with a very special guest appearance, so I suggest you stick around. We're also going to find out what you get when you pre-order the Bloodlines 2 Collector's Edition.
Bloodlines 2. Este me interesa, este sí me interesa. Este sí. Baja un poco por el copy. La coleccionista está buena, pero qué sé yo. Con un disco. Un libro también. Ah, para cuando jugás. Debe ser trajes. Y esto lo que ya. ¿Cuál es la figura? Nah. La figura no me convenció. No te voy a mentir. Así es bueno.
Lead producer at Paradox Interactive.
Hello, everyone.
And Rachel Laika, lead creative designer at Hardsuit Labs.
Hello.
Now, these guys have all the gruesome details, but let's start with, what is your favorite part of the Collector's Edition, Nikki?
That will be the Elif statue, and that's because she's my favorite character. But also, since I lived in Seattle for 6 months, it's really good to have a map kept as a memento.
And it's quite a faithful recreation of Seattle, as I understand it.
Exactly. Cartoonified.
Very, very cool. And Rachel, what's your favorite part of the Collector's Edition?
I'm a big fan of that 7-inch vinyl of the original soundtrack. It's a really stunning physical copy of the really amazing soundtrack, made partially by Rick Schaefer, composer from the original game. So I'm pretty excited to throw that on my turntable.
I don't think you'll be the only one. Any Bloodlines fan have that theme stuck in their head. We've teased it enough. It's time to find out which Kindred survived those Los Angeles nights and the long, long road to Seattle.
Xbox Series. Me gusta Gore, me encanta este Gore. Creo que esta banda sonora no tenga copy, pero la pienso dejar. Sí, creo que tiene copy, es mucho. Ya que cuerno de paz. No, está como yo cuando se queda solitario en casa. Me pongo a bailar así yo. Claro, no tengo cuerpos en mi casa. Pero... Ah, y te podés mover libremente por la ciudad. ¿No? Vampira. Me doy cuenta por los ojos. Creo que son los ojos los que te mandan al frente. Voy a bajar un poco por el tema copy. Ahí va. Limpiate la sangre. Pero ¿qué pasa con los vampiros? ¿Bailan todos? ¿Todos se pegan un pasito? Bueno, lo bueno es que lo puedes vestir, tenés poderes para ir en sigilo. Te estoy hipnotizando, amigo, te estoy hipnotizando. Voy a guiñar el ojo, pero... no es buena. Sí, tenés ultis. Y empiezas a bailar como ellos. La puta que te parió. Come dance. O sea, es de vampiros que va a ir. Es un Footloose, pero de vampiros. ¿Y esto? Harley Quinn. Mierda que no. Parece Harley Quinn. Dempsey. Bueno, al menos vi lo que quería, un gameplay, un rey. ¿Ves? Esto sí es bueno. Esto me confirman que están trabajando en el juego, no como nosotros que me dicen, es un juego, no, no. Dame un gameplay, algo que ya tengas hecho. No me digas que vas a hacer un juego que todavía no sacaste o no hiciste un puto gameplay. ¿Sabes? Estoy montando este paquete de rockets. No tiene rockets, pero te muestro el paquete de rockets. Yo quiero probar el rocket.
Okay, clan critique aside, one of the great things about Damsel that old fans loved was the voice actress.
Yeah, that was Courtney Taylor, and she's reprising her role as Damsel, which is super exciting.
Okay, good to hear I won't be forced to interrupt anybody's voice box into anybody else. But is there anything else that you guys would like to share with the viewers about Bloodlines 2? Rachel?
We're just really excited for people to start playing the game and
La banda sonora está muy buena. Si no fuese por la estatua, o sea, el muñequito, el coleccionable, no sé cómo se llama eso. Es bueno comprar eso. Comprar ese coso, la versión coleccionista.
There are many ways to be a vampire in this game. Of course, the right answer is to be a bruja, because we have cool jackets and are pros at rabble-rousing.
Okay, there you have it. The one defining feature of Bruja is their 80s fashion sense. And thanks for joining us via link, Rachel. And thanks for coming to the studio. That was Rachel Laika and Nikat Ali from the Bloodlines 2 team.
Seriously.
Sí, sí, se te pega el puto paso.
Really paso. Every time. But I can't believe that Damsel is in the game. I'm just thinking cosplay potential for all the future events.
Definitely. You could also be thinking, well, the Anarch scum have revealed their position, and with the Archons moving swiftly towards Seattle, I think that's a wrap.
I think so too. We've experienced murders and betrayals in Crusader Kings 3.
We've met a boss in Empire of Sin.
Trapped convicts on an island in Prison Architect.
Balance the needs of our survivors with the needs of the environment in surviving the aftermath.
Celebrated Hearts of Iron 4.
And reconnected with a fan favorite and my old enemy in Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2.
We hope that you've enjoyed this insider look. Please stay safe, stay sane, wash your hands and play some games. That's all from Stockholm. Have a good night. Bye.
¿Esto es? ¿Terminó? ¿Terminó? ¿Acá finalizó? ¿Cuándo? Ah, no.
First day, but we are far from done. Of course, we've shown you a bunch of games you can get today, but we've also partnered with Steam. You can head over there to the Guerrilla Collective section. You can wishlist the games.
Que me vaya a Steam y me gaste todos los pavos que tengo.
That, you can catch the PC Game Show today at 11 a.m. Pacific, and then you can catch the Future Game Show at 2 p.m. If that wasn't enough, we're back with day 2 of the Guerrilla Collective tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific with even more reveals, trailers, and demos, and then we wrap up Monday starting at 9 a.m. Pacific with extended gameplay sessions with the developers. You won't want to miss any of it, I swear. But until next time, no. It's been our pleasure to serve you. The Guerrilla Collective thanks its gold sponsor, ID at Xbox.
Tienes razón, me falta un evento, no puse el último evento.
All of these supporting
Miré,
sponsors.
son 4 eventos hoy. Ahora. Tendré que rebajar todo el stream. La pregunta es, ¿de dónde veo ahora Terminó. Tengo que ir a... ¿IGN será? ¿IGN? No, IGN no. IGN no. Twitch.